When we're talking about leadership qualities, the one thing that I've kind of tried to tell myself, and I haven't really spoke on this until this point, was it's all well and good saying your two stars need to be the leaders of a franchise and saying that they've been through tough spots in previous years. The only difference is now that when they were in tough spots before, they could look up to Al Horford to lead the way, or it was Kyrie Irving's problem, and he was the one dealing with that media kind of circus that follows. Now it's learning to lead while also being the two names in the firing line every night. And I think that's going to be a big adjustment for these guys too. And that's why when like Brad Stevens said the other day, this is it's a learning journey for these two, and it actually is going to be more helpful for them to struggle now because it's character building, right? And I think they've got everything in terms of mentality and application to become like legitimate locker room leaders. But I just don't think they're there yet. And it's very unfair for us to expect them to be because they've never had to do this before.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I go back to 2002, 2003, when Antoine Walker was traded. And, you know, Paul Pierce is on the plane reading books about leadership, right? Now, you fast forward now, almost 20 years later, right? Paul Pierce, the captain, the truth, I mean, the champion. I mean, he... with the passing of Tommy Heinsohn, is he the emblematic piece of Celtics pride right now? I don't know, but my point is, it's just you don't even think about that. So there was a maturation process that Paul Pierce had to go through, and I think that's what we're seeing with Jaylen and Jayson. The nice thing here, I'm hopeful that we get kind of the advanced course for these guys because they had to go through. You know, we look at Luka, right? Luka, amazing player. He's had to carry all that on his shoulders. Trae Young carrying all that on his shoulders. They make big shots and they win, and everybody thinks it's great. But they've lost a lot of games compared to what Jaylen and Jayson have done. They haven't done anything in the playoffs. So I think we're going to see an advanced study from those two fellas. I think they're going to be able to get to a place faster than they might have otherwise. The question, I guess, is, how hard is that? And how quickly can the pieces around them solidify to be able to help them make the right decisions, become those, willing to, maybe early on you pass that when you could have taken the fadeaway, Jayson Tatum, maybe instead of putting your head down and getting to the rim, Jaylen, you dish into the corner and Shemi is taking a three. Make it or miss it, I don't know, but that's that trust that the best guys have to do and have to set that tone for everybody else. And I think they, like you said, they haven't had to do that. Horford could do that. Kyrie could do that. So that it's just going to be tough. But like I said, the numbers don't lie. They've been tremendous so far.
And you touched on a point that I've been kind of harping on for about a week now, which is trust. And it's being able to pass the ball to somebody else, knowing that they're going to hit that shot. And if you look at some of the great teams in the league right now, I hate to do this, but it has to be done. If we look at the Lakers and their fourth quarter play, and I hate it, but this is true. LeBron James will always find the open man, regardless of if it's the 10th guy off the bench or it's the 6th man off the bench, like the first guy off. It doesn't matter who's in the corner or who's on the wing. If you're open, and the ball finds its way to you. And then it's a make or miss league, so you live with whatever happens from that point. And we're not seeing that from anyone on the Celtics really at the moment. Jayson and Jaylen obviously getting the most heat for that. What I do like to remind people of is coming into the year, it was all about developing those two guys as playmakers. Now all of a sudden we're jumping on them for not being developed playmakers. So it's a catch-22 situation, right? But I do think trust is a big thing with this team. When we see them move the ball, whether the ball goes in or not's irrelevant at this moment in time. It's a step in the right direction that they really need to take. And things look better against Indiana for large stretches. There were moments where it looked bad, but for the majority of the time, it looked decent.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that things do slide back and move forward. And, they're 22, 23. Nothing is going to be consistent. People want to get on the bench. Nothing those guys do will be consistent. So there is that aspect to this. And when your best players are having the ball, they're going to feel like they have to do it themselves. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at 22 and 23. The problem is when they're 27, 28 and they're doing that. it's hard. Everybody wants a solution now, but as you and I are recording this, they're like half a game back from fourth in the East. Now, look, I was also, when Justin and I were recording our show, I was talking about how they were going to be 10th in the East, and they were. So, what does that mean? I don't know. But I think what it says to me is, look, there's a lot of season left. There's a lot of teams in the middle. The Celtics were going to be rough in this period. I think, clear-eyed observers saw that. And we'll get to the break. And then what happens? So then it goes to Danny, it goes to health, it goes to trust. And then we're going to see in the next 3 weeks before the trade deadline. That's going to be such a key piece of this season, is what do you have and can you make sense of this? The problem is, I'm sure like you, it's frustrating because like we've been hearing this, just wait until Kyrie comes back. Just wait until Hayward comes back. It's like, I don't want to wait. And so I understand the frustration. I just think it's on Twitter, it kind of is getting bizarre. It's just going off the rails.
The amount I tweet has nosedived so much over the last few weeks. It's a crazy platform, to be quite honest. And it's not the only one. If you venture onto Facebook, it's worse there. If you venture onto Reddit, everyone seems a little bit more calm, but it definitely has its moments there. But it is true. This just wait. So it was wait till Hayward. Then it was wait till Kemba's back. Now it's wait until the core four guys are all on the floor together consistently. Then it'll be, well, wait until they're in a rhythm. Wait until they've developed a bit more. It's annoying, and you feel like you're a child being told, like, wait until after you've ate your dinner to eat your dessert. Wait until. So it is frustrating. It really is. But as you said, we're coming up to the trade deadline. Once we get past the All-Star break, there's going to be wait until a move happens. But when we're looking at it, that's when the discussion really gets into the point of, well, who on this roster are you willing to move on from, and who is a piece that is worth developing, right? Because at the moment, guys that I considered pieces worth developing at the start of the year, I'm now no longer upset if they leave. Guys that I would have been upset if they would have been happy with them leaving, I'm a little bit more on the fence about whether they should stay long term. So in your perspective, who are going to be the guys that you think still hold enough value to be a make-weight part of a trade deal and also wouldn't upset you if they were to leave?
This is always the hardest part, man. I hate this. This is why I could never be a GM. I mean, all the when you see on the Twitter, like, who says no, like those types of, I love the trade machines. I'm like, ooh, I can make the numbers work. And then I'm like, wait a second, no one would ever do this deal, So this is I have a hard time kind of looking the other perspective. But I mean, I guess the answer is, in one respect, I wouldn't mind moving on from anybody in the right deal, right? That's the Danny Ainge approach, right? Anybody, Danny's mother might get moved in a deal, anything that isn't nailed down could go. So I kind of hold off on that. But I mean, honestly, when you look at, I think any of those young guys, all of them, Pritchard, Romeo, Neesmith, maybe even Time Lord, in the right deal. Now, the problem is, what is the right deal? And realistically, you'd have to get quite a bit to be able to move one or two of those guys. You're talking about somebody who's near all-star quality, somebody who's maybe near Gordon Hayward quality. Not to say they need Gordon Hayward, but you get my point, So I think that honestly, I'd move any of them, but I also feel like you can't give up all of these young players. There's a value in having the way that what Danny has done. Let me back up. What Danny has done to build this bench is done with purpose. To build from within gives you value above contract price in a rookie deal. If you can get players who hit, and Peyton Pritchard is already a plus, in that regard. I think in the very small samples we saw of Romeo, he could be a plus. I think Neesmith is headed in that direction. So if you're getting plus value, which is basically for them above minimum contract salary guys, then there's a lot of value. And not only that, you have control of the player on the contract. So I understand people are frustrated and it's not consistent and it's not conducive to winning. All true, all realistic. But to me, like, you really need to be careful about trying to throw away a lot of this bench for that purpose.